Welcome to News Briefs. Today is Thursday, June 26, 2025. Kicking things off today, some serious financial accusations coming out of the U.S. Treasury Department. They're pointing fingers at three financial institutions down in Mexico: Intercam, CBNC, and Vector.
That's right. The accusation is pretty heavy, facilitating money laundering for cartels.
Wow.
And on top of that, engaging in transactions with China. So yeah, it's definitely stirring things up diplomatically.
I can imagine. How's Mexico taking this? What's the official response?
Well, Mexico's Hacienda, their Treasury equivalent, and the president's office are pushing back. They're denying the accusations flat out.
Okay.
They say their own internal reviews just found some administrative issues, resulted in fines, about 134 million pesos worth. But crucially, they're saying there's no link, none at all, to the more serious stuff like money laundering.
Interesting distinction. All right, let's pivot a bit to U.S. foreign policy. President Trump has reaffirmed support for NATO, which sounds positive, but there seems to be a sting in the tail.
There really is. Support, yes, but it comes with some hefty demands. Reports are suggesting the U.S. is actually threatening Spain.
Threatening an ally with what?
With a possible trade war. The condition is that Spain needs to ramp up its defense spending, not just to the 2% NATO goal, but way up to 5% of their GDP.
5%.
Yeah.
That's a huge jump from the general target.
It really is. It puts, immense pressure on Spain, a significant ally.
Definitely raises questions about alliance dynamics there. Okay, shifting focus again. Immigration. The Trump administration seems to have a new plan regarding asylum claims.
Yes, the plan is to basically dismiss asylum applications from anyone who entered the country irregularly.
And the consequence of that dismissal.
It makes them eligible for expedited expulsion, sort of fast-tracked removal.
Right. And tied into this, there's movement on that controversial detention center in Florida.
Construction is moving forward on what they're calling Alligator Alcatraz down in the Everglades. It's slated to start operating in July.
And the capacity is quite large, isn't it?
It is expected to hold 5,000 people. And yeah, this is the facility that's sparking major environmental concerns given the Everglades location, and of course, humanitarian concerns too.
A lot to unpack there. Let's look at the economy now. Some concerning news out of the U.S. for the first quarter of 2025.
Yeah, not great. The economy actually contracted by 0.5%.
And that's worse than they initially thought.
It is. The first estimate was a 0.2% contraction. This revision downward is mainly chalked up to low consumer spending and, interestingly, an increase in imports.
Which impacts the trade balance too, presumably.
Exactly. The trade deficit grew by 11% just in May.
Okay, so U.S. economy shrinking slightly. But meanwhile, how's the Mexican peso doing?
Actually, it's doing pretty well. It's strengthening into the dollar, trading around 18.87 pesos.
Huh. That's notable, especially right before the Bank of Mexico makes its decisions.
Definitely an interesting appreciation to watch.
Okay, let's turn to science and tech, some potentially huge news regarding water scarcity.
Yes, a really significant advance here. Scientists have developed a new nanomaterial.
A nanomaterial. What's special about it?
It's made of calcium and graphene oxide. And its big trick is that it dramatically improves the ability to pull water vapor directly out of the air, even from low humidity.
Just generate water from the air.
Essentially, yeah. The potential impact is massive. They estimate it could benefit over 2 billion people facing water scarcity.
That's incredible. And sticking with tech, MIT Technology Review released its list for 2025. What's standing out?
Yeah, some interesting highlights. They're pointing to smaller, more efficient generative AI models, less resource hungry. Also, long-acting medicines, particularly for HIV.
Okay.
And green steel production methods with much lower emissions. Plus, robots that can learn new tasks faster, more adaptable automation.
Fascinating stuff. Now, shifting to medicine and ethics, a pretty troubling issue involving donkeys.
Extremely troubling. We're talking about mass sacrifice of donkeys, around 6 million every year.
6 million. Why?
It's primarily driven by demand for something called a jiao. It's a traditional Chinese medicine product made from donkey hide gelatin.
And the impact.
It's devastating, especially for communities in Africa that rely heavily on donkeys for transport and livelihoods. It also fuels a massive illegal trade network. It's gotten so bad, the African Union has actually imposed a moratorium on the trade.
A necessary step, it sounds like. And also, in the legal realm, a major ruling from Mexico's Supreme Court.
Yes, a landmark decision. The court ruled that there's no statute of limitations, no prescription period for child abuse claims.
So, time limits are gone.
Effectively removed. It means victims can seek justice, legally speaking, no matter how long ago the abuse occurred. A huge potential barrier taken down.
That is significant. Okay, let's look internationally. Tensions between Iran and Israel. Still simmering after that 12-day conflict.
Very much so. Both sides are, claiming they came out on top. But beneath that, there's still intense debate about the actual state of Iran's nuclear program following the clashes.
Still a lot of uncertainty there. And the situation in Ukraine and Russia.
Ukrainian sources are putting out some staggering numbers. They report accumulated Russian losses reaching approximately 1 million soldiers since the start of the full-scale invasion.
1 million, that's hard to comprehend. Any recent figures?
They claim about 950 more Russian soldiers were lost just in the last 24 hours. And adding another layer, South Korean intelligence suggests North Korea might be sending more troops to support Russia.
Really? When?
Potentially as soon as July or August. It was certainly deep in North Korea's involvement.
Okay, let's switch gears to sports. The FIFA Club World Cup has been underway. What happened yesterday, June 25th?
Some key results. Borussia Dortmund got a narrow 1-0 win over Ulsan. Monterrey had a big win, 4-0 against Uragu Reds. But River Plate lost 2-0 to Inter Milan.
So who's moving on based on those?
Those results mean Inter Milan, Monterrey, Dortmund, and Fluminense are all advancing in the tournament.
And what about matches today, the 26th?
Two big ones to watch today. Juventus is taking on Manchester City, and Real Madrid plays Salzburg.
But there's some team news affecting Real Madrid, isn't there?
Yeah, a bit of a blow for them. Kylian Mbappe is out. He's got gastroenteritis, apparently.
Oh, tough break for Madrid fans. Okay, finally, let's touch on entertainment. Any notable new movie releases?
A few hitting screens. The Last Showgirl is getting buzz, particularly praise for Pamela Anderson's performance.
Interesting. What else?
There's Look at Kizimo Set, which is described as a sort of tribute to classic Hollywood. And for horror fans, Danny Boyle is back with 28 years later, the sequel.
Okay, quite a mix. And any news from the celebrity world?
Well, it's been confirmed now the separation of Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom. They were together for 9 years.
Right, that news broke recently. Okay, that covers a lot of ground. Until next time.